Small towns breed simple truths. Love and hate, blame, resentment, shame, and even pride. You can feel just as lost as you can feel at ease. The people are the same, but the buildings come and go. Somehow it still feels like nothing has changed. Every house is still made of glass, and you inherently find yourself looking for a rock. But you hesitate to throw, because at the end of the day, it's still home.
There's one benefit to growing up in a small town, and it's that you did kind of know everybody. I knew my neighbors, I knew their names, I knew where they worked, I knew their kids, and I hung out with them. We had some sort of community. There isn't really that anymore, as connected as everything is. It's really still very separate. There are opportunities all around you to connect with people that you may not know, or the people that you do know, but just vaguely. The people that work at the gas station, the people that work at the pizza joint you're at once a week, the lady who cuts your hair. Spend some time getting to know these people and getting to know what they're about. Maybe they'll want to share their story, maybe they won't, but at least you made the effort.
So today we find ourselves headed back to Combs Barbecue in Middletown, Ohio, to sit down and talk with local singer-songwriter Daryl Salee. Daryl has been a staple in this music scene for as long as I can recall, and it was an absolute privilege to get the chance to sit down and learn more about him.
Well, did you grow up in Middletown, or where were you from originally?
No, I grew up in Middletown.
Okay.
And I was born in '54. I started playing in '64 when I was 9 years old. And shortly after the Beatles came over in February, I started playing in February.
Right.
I turned 10 in November, so I started playing when I was really playing when I was 10, and then I just kept on playing. And the guy that owns this restaurant, Keith Combs, and we started a band. And I don't know, I forget how old we were, but probably 11 or 12 years old, maybe, something like that. And his father owned the skating rink, and we started a little band called the Rhythm Rascals. We were just learning how to play, and we played all over, really. We did a lot of gigs together.
Regionally, or did you go outside of the state?
No, we stayed mostly around here. We played at some local clubs. Back then it was like teen clubs, you know, where they would have Coke and potato chips and stuff like that. And,
Right.
and there's a lot of local clubs in town, and there was a lot of bands back then that were young bands, you know, like Gary and the Hornets. And it was not unusual for young kids, 13, 14, to have a band.
Right.
And the people I associated with and played music with were older than me. So I was always the youngest one in the band, but that's how I got to know them and learned a lot from them, and I'm still playing with a lot of them today.
Right.
And I was asked to join the Cavaliers. And they had a record out, and they were a really well-known band, and they played all over. And they asked me to play guitar for them. And we played the Swordsville Lake Dances, and we played with the Lemon Pipers and groups like that. We played the frat houses over in Oxford, which was just like Animal House. It was really like that. And you know, I went to Manchester Junior High School when I was in the 8th grade, and I was playing pretty much every weekend, you know, making money. My father he got ill when I was in the 7th grade, and he had to quit at work. And so I started playing music for money.
Right.
It was really terrifying, you know, to get finished with your basketball game at Manchester, your hair's still wet, and you're shuffled off in some van
Right.
to go play, and just walking up and plugging in whatever was up there.
Right.
Sometimes they just had backline gear for the other band, and we'd just use their equipment, and we would want. It was terrifying.
Yeah.
And I think that's when I kind of got over the stage fright at an early age, you know. So I was exposed to all that.
Sort of like there used to be a venue there, correct?
Yeah, it was called Starlight Gardens,
Okay.
and it was the big deal to play there. There was a stage about just a few feet off the ground, but it was open on one side, and on one side had all booths, and it went way back. I mean, 600 people easily. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And to be young like that, and they were right on top of us.
Right.
And no, there was no monitors or anything like that.
Right.
We just had to just go by what we felt, you know, what we're doing right, you know. We thought we were doing it right, and that's how we learned.
Yeah.
We played places where, you know, there was actually go-go girls in cages on either side of the stage. Some pretty rough places.
Right.
But we got through it, and we would alternate weekends sometimes with the Family Reunion Band, which was a big band back then, and the Rapscallion Circle were big back then. The Intruders, of course, were before that, and then the Trucks. They were a great band too.
Okay.
And I played with Paul Goodwin now, who was in the Trucks and then in the Intruders, so we go way back.
Gotcha. He's also in the Beaumonts, which
That's right,
Yeah,
and
but-
that's right. Greg Calvert and Paul are in the Beaumonts, and they also play with our group, the Strum Lords.
okay.
And Calvert and I played many years ago. '76 is when we started playing together. We played in a group called the Albert Taylor Group with his brother Gary, and I played guitar and sang, and Mike Halsey played the drums. Fantastic drummer,
Yeah.
one of the best I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And we did that for a few years and had a pretty good following. We played it over in Oxford, the King of Clubs and places like that. And it was a southern rock band, a lot of things like that.
And for a while you went to New Orleans?
No, not New Orleans. It was actually Lake Charles.
St. Charles, okay.
Decided to move down there. My wife's from Louisiana.
Did you take anything from the Louisiana experience as far as music?
Well, when I got down there, you know, I was 39 years old. You know, I kind of just wanted to just not play. I felt like I was kind of done or something. I don't know what it was. And I was working in a music store, and these two guys came up to me. They were Cajun guys, and they wanted me to come over and jam with them on the electric guitar. I said, well, you know, I don't even play electric anymore, really. And they said, well, just come over and jam with us. So I bought an electric guitar, and I had an amp, and I had a couple other guitars. I found one I really liked, and I told my wife I'll go over and jam, and that'll be it. You know, I'd just go back to just playing acoustic every once in a while. I was wanting to play maybe once a month.
Right.
That's it. Some coffee house, and I did all the coffee houses down there too. And we started playing. It was just within 5 minutes. It was magic. And these guys were really great. I kept thinking it was going to sound empty or something, you know. But they knew how to follow me, and I knew how to follow them, even though we grew up in two different kinds of worlds.
Right.
Listened to a lot of different kinds of music than each other. But we just loved each other, and within no time we were playing all the time.
Right.
And I probably played more in 10 years in Louisiana than I did in 15 years in Ohio. Well, I recorded 3 albums.
Okay.
The first album was recorded in, I think 1990 or 91. It's called This Town's Tough. And the material came a lot from living in Middletown and cold nights like tonight. It's
Right.
dark, bleak. It's a bleak album. When I got to Louisiana in around 2000, I got there in '94 and played all those years with the band and other situations. And recorded an album called The Best Years. and that was recorded in 2001 or 2002, right in there. And when I got back up here, I met up with some of the guys from Yankee Gray and a couple of players, Jerry Hughes and David Buchanan. And I expressed that I had this material that I had backlogged, and so we started making demos, and the songs came out the way I heard them in my head. That's all I can really ask for, is to hear the songs come out the way that you hear them in your mind, and maybe a little bit better.
Right.
And I just let the guys play what I just ran the song down to them on acoustic guitar, and then we would just start building from there. And I'm really proud of that record. It's called New Sunshine. And the band, the Strum Lords, we do a few of the songs from that CD, as well as the best years too.
Okay. Since you were from Middletown and had some time away from it, coming back to it, how do you feel the town is now versus the way it was then?
Well, it's always been a rough town. This town's tough. And I think it's always going to be that way. And the only difference is that there was just a lot more industry and factories and mom and pop stores down the street here. And it was a pretty town, a really nice town. You can come down on Saturday and hang out all day and do whatever you want to do. There was not too much trouble, you know. The first solo gig I ever played by myself, I was 19, and when I started on acoustic out by myself, I didn't go to college. It just wasn't for me. So I started playing at the Office Lounge right across the tracks over here a few nights a week. I played there for a while, and had to beat those songs out, for people that were, they were wanting to hear something. They wanted to see a show too, so I got a lot of learning experience there. And then Greg Clark and I, we played together for years, and we started playing at the Upstairs Lounge. This is all in the 70s. It's kind of all intertwined, And oddly enough, now we have this band, which I'm the most proud of this band of any band I've ever been in. And it's because there's a lot of melody involved. I always wanted to be in a band that could sing real well. This band does that. I like the material because it's what we grew up playing. We would look silly playing 80s or 90s music. So we just play our favorite little songs that we've always liked, and we do a couple blues shuffles and some Ray Charles and things like that. And we have a couple girl singers, Diane Buster South-Bashir and Peg Allen. She plays the flute and sings, and so the harmony is really great singing with girls. You can do there's a lot of things you can do that you can't do with just a regular rock and roll band. And the guys I play with, I've known them my whole life. We've been friends forever. We've done countless gigs, and it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's just nothing but just a lot of fun.